Here's what I believe most reviewers missed about what makes Hollow Knight great. It can be summed up with two things, those being the map and health mechanics. It takes a lot to make a game great. Now don't freak out that I'm not praising the level design, or the art style, or the combat, or the music. These are all good in their own right, but I believe the game is elevated to a whole nother level of enjoyable due to these two mechanics. By the way, I will be comparing Hollow Knight to Dark Souls a lot in this video. Their game mechanics are very similar, so the comparison fits better than with any other game. Sorry for any of you that are sick of hearing the comparison between the games. With that out of the way, let's get on with the discussion. The map and health system seem to be designed for what makes the game fun, exploration. Both mechanics keep the adventuring from becoming monotonous. You see monotonous gameplay a lot even in games that are sold on the idea of adventure. A recent example being Fallout 4. The issue this game suffers from is that it can do a great job of having an interesting open world, and it can even be fun to explore. But because you often have to break up your adventuring with going back to the base to unload your massive acquired items, then go back out to where you left off, it makes the adventuring feel a bit tedious. The same goes for a game like Dark Souls, where the adventuring is fun, but because you'll often run out of health and you'll have to run all the way back through the level, refill, then fight your way back to where you want to pick up, the game gets loaded with boring downtime. Game design like this makes it a hassle to go and do what makes the game fun, but Hollow Knight negates this entirely by the use of the map and health mechanics. For those of you who don't know how the map works, the map mechanic goes like this. When entering a new zone, you have no access to the map of that zone. To access it, you must find the cartographer Cornifer somewhere in the zone and buy one from him. Rather than other games which simply have no map or give the player the entire map outright like most open worlds, this presents the player with a few rewards. When you first encounter an area, you're exploring blind and you feel the pressure of not knowing where you're going. But most importantly is the fact that this gives you an objective. This gameplay design keeps exploration in Hollow Knight engaging for a number of reasons. First off, you know that when you find that map, you can then properly explore the area and find all the other things that make this game great. You can see if there are places you can still go and explore. You want to know these things. It's exciting to see that you still have places to go. This only works because the level design is so great. Then, you know that when you have that map, you gain a strong sense of confidence where you can plunge into unknown areas with no real fear of not being able to find your shadow in case you die. The map gives you a feeling of opening up a new world to explore, like you've got the skeleton key to understanding an area. As you explore and you hear the humming of Cornifer in every area, you get that burst of excitement. This is great due mostly to the fact that it never really takes that long to find them. You stay blind long enough to experience the want, the need to find the map, but not to the point where you're just annoyed with not knowing where you're going. So when you do find them, you feel properly rewarded. This keeps new areas fresh and exciting throughout the entirety of the game. Empty space and unexplored zones are a complete mystery until you walk the halls yourself and pencil in locations at the next bench. Compared to a game where you just don't know if there's more to explore, or one where you already know the edges of where you can find new things, this makes it feel like you never know when the adventure in one direction will ever stop. And on your first playthrough, it really feels like the game doesn't have a finish line. This worked especially well in Hollow Knight, where the areas weave into each other so perfectly that every hole in the wall really does end up being a new path or an entirely new zone sometimes. The other mechanic I'd like to praise is the health system. To get health back, you hit enemies and gain soul. Soul is the fuel for your health regeneration. This isn't like Bloodborne where you recover lost health. This allows you to go through a level, and as you lose health, you can continuously not only stabilize, but often max out your health as long as you're playing well and getting more health than you're losing. This is huge. It encourages players to continue exploring the level even if they're low on health, to fight enemies and push forward to the next bench. It encourages a very aggressive playstyle where confident players can keep pushing forward as long as they believe they can continue to beat enemies without taking too many hits. You're rewarded for your skill. You can continue to enjoy playing the game even if you mess up once in a while. Or even better, this means that even if you get hit by some bullshit in the game, that a skilled player doesn't have much excuse to die. You can almost always play well enough to find time to heal without worrying about your health source running out. Compared to other games, Dark Souls, this system is just more fun to play with. Don't get me wrong, I love Dark Souls, but being forced to retreat back to a bonfire, or God forbid, you get that "fuck it, I'll just run" attitude where you scramble to find the next bonfire may work, but they simply are not fun, and they're not how the game is meant to be played. Yet it's something many new players will find themselves doing because they're not enjoying a level. Hollow Knight takes that out of the game completely by giving you a real incentive to fight the enemies on your way through, to play the game how it was meant to be played, as a combat-based platformer, not something to just get through. This really allows the great combat to shine as people will actually be experiencing it and focusing on it. And that's really what makes this game great. That is why these mechanics are so important. They allow for the rest of the well-done gameplay to shine to their fullest without being dulled by annoying or tedious mechanics and systems. Thanks for listening to my thoughts on what specifically took Hollow Knight from being just a good game to a great game. Thanks for watching.